Hey, so Nerdy's 2 minutes late and Nerdy's complaining. I mean, god damn these people. You know,
it's almost like he enjoys our show.
Yeah, God. I mean, yeah. Well, okay, I can look at it that way. He couldn't wait to hear our wonderful, wise voices. Okay, Nerdy.
Oh yeah, lots of wisdom.
Yeah, so David is out there in chat and Nerdy's out there. So those are the two victims that are listening to us. We have two victims. We have no idea why we're doing this, as usual. Anyway, so Sal Cordova. I don't know if we should get to that right away. Where's Slimy Sal? Let's see. I owe Slimy Sal an apology. There he is. Okay. All this time, when Slimy Sal cherry picks papers and keeps saying some of the same stupid things over and over again, like proteins don't have a common ancestor, so this is a problem for evolution. I always thought that Slimy Sal was just lying to his viewers. And in his most recent video, where DapperDino broke his heart. Well, that's interesting. Okay, let's talk about that. Oh, here's James. James is here.
Hello, James.
Hey there, guys. Sorry I'm late to the party. I just now saw the link and the stream went live.
Okay.
So did Sal actually ask for you to apologize to him for something?
Oh no. Sal would never acknowledge my existence on the planet. But I owe him an apology because I've been calling him a liar all this time.
Did we discover that he's not a liar?
He's not a liar.
What does that mean? That he really believes the bullshit that he's peddling, or like what? What are we saying?
He may either really believe it, and he's just too incompetent to see through it, or he really believes it and he just twists everything.
Jesus Christ, guys! Spoiler.
Oh, keep going then. Keep going. Sorry, didn't mean to spoil anything.
Oh no, spoilers. And yeah, and anyway, he talks about his what he's doing, like this Lenski paper he looks at where he highlighted in red what it said, and he insists that this is this just shatters evolutionary theory, and evolutionary biologists everywhere should be listening to Sal Cordova because he highlighted that line in the paper, and it says right in that paper that you guys are all wrong. And anyway, I think he really believes it because he didn't really understand the paper at all. The point of the Lenski paper, which was on mutator genomes in bacteria, and they're talking about a particular little class of bacteria that exist in Lenski's lab and in Lenski's environment. And Sal Cordova honestly, truly thinks that he is seeing something in this paper that nobody else in evolutionary biology across the entire world, across the history of the field, has ever seen. He is the one true genius who has seen this, right? And do you know what that makes him?
Either Dunning or Kruger.
He's an idiot. He makes him an idiot. So I want to apologize when I called him a liar. I didn't realize that he really is this ignorant. There's nothing wrong with having an average IQ like Sal, maybe around, between 90 and 100 or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you don't realize what your own limitations are, I mean, when you're trying to be a rocket scientist and you're not a rocket scientist, I guess, I don't know, am I being an asshole about this? I mean, there are a lot of people that have average IQs that understand that they do, and that makes them really smart. You know.
No, average is like 120 though, right? Like it's not.
Well, is that at one time I heard 110. It depends on where you measure it, but average is supposed to be 100.
Yeah, I'm thinking that with the IQ, if it gets to be an average of 120, they just re-index it, because I think 100 is supposed to be average the way it's.
Yeah. So I mean, I used to measure from base to tip, but now I go all the way back to the taint now. So let's fight for every inch.
But I mean, there are, if you're a human being, number one, that automatically makes you a genius among primates and a genius among the animal kingdom, right? I mean, we know that. So we're all geniuses.
Sure.
And being average, there's nothing wrong with that. But being average and not being humble about it, being average and thinking that you're going to tell everybody else in the world that they're wrong because you thought of this idea, like, oh, proteins don't have a common ancestor, that makes you a real asshole.
Well, I mean, it's just like flat earthers figuring out something that everybody else missed.
Right.
And so somehow pilots that fly around the world never noticed that they flew around the disk, and people that launch satellites in orbit never noticed that their satellites on the other side of the frisbee Earth aren't actually reaching anybody. So it takes one of these really brilliant people to let us know what we've been missing.
Yeah, there's that politician who ran on the Jesus Guns Babies platform, who's now been talking about how NASA and the news showing globes everywhere is a conspiracy theory. It's propaganda.
Oh no.
I mean, I like the idea of Jesus giving all babies guns. I'm just saying.
Yeah, or gunning down babies. If that reads like a sentence, it means Jesus guns, with gun being a verb. Jesus guns babies.
I'm okay with that too, honestly. I don't care if Jesus kills them. I don't care if they kill each other. Just give them the guns and see what happens.
Who was that crazy Christian you had on yesterday? Or that you were, James, the video?
Against that really cute ex-con lady.
She's an
Martha Stewart.
Yeah, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Who was that idiot that was criticizing her? Did you listen? Unfortunately, I didn't get time to listen to your whole show. I apologize.
Oh, so it's fine. Even I don't listen to my whole show.
The reason why I call her an ex-con is because I think the first ever video I saw of her, she was wearing orange.
The orange jumpsuit, sure. So her name is Burke, right?
Denise Burke?
No, Christy Burke. So
yeah.
she's got a couple thousand followers already. She's up and coming. She's definitely going to be a big channel. And if I heard correctly, she's only 17 years old, which surprised me. Yeah, that's what someone tells me. So it's a good thing I didn't like say anything other than she's cute.
She looks like a mom.
I know she looks like she's in her mid to late 20s, but she's not. She's 17.
She looks like somebody's mom.
In any event, she's smart, and so there's a minor channel that called her out, and it was called Truth Speller. It's a nobody channel, hardcore gaslighting fundamentalist, and just a few minutes in, I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm like, you know what? This is such low hanging fruit. This guy is so off the deep end. It's just not worth it, right? So then we jumped over through Nitty's recommendation, I guess, and we paid attention to Testify, responding to her as well, and so we talked a lot about that. And was it a good stream? No, I think all my streams are shit. But Testify, like, it just amazes me that these fundamentalists think the way that they do. That they take, because they're able to reason in any other domain of existence, right? They can go into a math class or an English class or a normal history class. They can have any discussion with anybody on any topic that has nothing to do with the Bible, and they think reasonably. They reason soundly. But the moment they start talking about Bibles and faith and God, all of a sudden none of the normal rules apply. And it's just, what do you do with that, right? So I'm just glad that But
Like Sal Cordova, I'm not sure how I went off on that tangent. I'm not sure. My mind is galloping today.
sure.
It has been ever since I woke up. But anyway, Sal Cordova, because he believes that so he so solidly believes in this creation story in 6,000-year-old Earth, and he knows that the entire world has got it wrong. And he thinks that he also thinks that humans are God's chosen species in the cosmos, right? So he already has that bit of hubris, that bit of pride, that he thinks that humans are chosen. But more specifically, he thinks because of his science background that God chose him personally to go out and fight this war for them, right? So he doesn't even question the bullshit that he comes up with. He never questions his own professional ability to come up with these ideas, right? He just thinks that God is behind him all the way, and he's got the one thing, the flaming sword that is going to take down all of science and all of evolution and tell everybody that Jesus is Lord, and he was Lord 2,000 years ago, and 6,000 years ago, Adam and Eve were the only animals on the earth, and they were the chosen ones. So he believes in his mission so strongly. So in that way, have you seen any other signs of Christians basically acquiring this idea that they're special in the entire universe, that they have been chosen by God himself personally out of the whole class of, not 8 billion humans or however many of us there are,
Right.
that they have been chosen to give this one message to the world? I mean, how many of them are like that? How many think that they're the ones?
So yeah, that's just Abrahamic religious fundamentalists, right? Like the evangelical fundamentalists. That's pretty much it. I mean, the Hindus don't go that far. In the different religions, they just don't go that far. Right? They just that's not part of their thinking. This is specifically Abrahamic fundamentalist evangelizing religions are the only ones that say that.
Well, in Judaism, do they believe that they're the chosen species in the
Yeah,
cosmos?
but they don't think it's their job to go out there and tell you about it or convert you to Judaism, though.
Oh, okay. They haven't been in, but they still believe the entire species is somehow chosen, right? Take care of all the other animals.
Sure. Yeah, the religious ones do.
And in some ways, this is a total aside, but I have problems with some ecological movements where we try to rebalance nature after man has unbalanced nature.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of hubris in that too, because
Sure, there is.
yeah,
Like
because
God gave us the job of cleaning up the mess that we're about to create.
yeah,
Like, how much
we
sense
have
does
to
that
take
make?
care of the earth, and it's like, and the truth of the matter that most people that would take care of the earth are doing it for selfish reasons because we don't want to disappear. We know we need that little thin layer of oxygen, and if something goes wrong with that, we are so fucked.
Right.
We are so fucked.
Right, but there's nothing that fundamentalists say that they don't also contradict themselves about. So, like, we're supposed to take care of the earth, but they can't wait for God to come destroy it.
Yeah,
Right? So,
yeah.
come on.
It's got to be in pristine condition when he destroys it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think to them, taking care of the earth is turning everything into, strip malls, real estate developments for the,
In churches,
2%,
have you seen the size of their churches?
Oh yeah, huge churches to go along with the real estate developments.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're like in that Gary, Indiana video you had me watch.
Oh yeah,
that church was fucking amazing for a town of 160,000 people
at the time. Yeah,
at the time, and it's like, holy shit! Do you really need that much church people? It's like, I don't know. That's a lot of church.
Yeah, and then seeing where Michael Jackson and his family grew up is incredible too, because that was such a small house.
Oh my god, it was.
It's a well kept house.
The only well kept house in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, all the other ones in the neighborhood are shit. But I'll be right back, guys. I gotta get some water.
Alrighty.
forgive me, James, but that's where you live, right? Indiana?
So yeah, Indiana. I live about 2 hours south by southeast of Gary. So
Okay.
it's Gary's a very sad place. It's all the life's been sucked out of it. Really, there's not
Yeah.
much left of it except a bunch of really desperate people.
Well, this guy did a wonderful travel video on it, and he showed the church that they had there. It's, it's all falling down, but it was just beautiful. It was just a wonderful architecture.
Hmm.
And it was really, and then the sad thing about it is how much garbage there was on the street. Nobody was picking it up. And the city can't afford to pick it up. And it's like,
Right.
what? I mean, I can't imagine living in an environment like that without killing somebody. And apparently they have the highest per capita murder index in the entire country.
Well, sure, because those people are desperate and they're not doing well psychologically,
Yeah.
and so there's just no hope there.
You can tell they're not doing well psychologically because all the
Right.
garbage on the streets that hasn't been. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you have a tone like that? I just can't see. Oh, so Dave, you just saw the video, Dave, on Captive Desk on Gary, Indiana. That was pretty incredible, but it is kind of a interesting look at the town and the horrible. Sometimes capitalism does really nasty things to entire communities of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that nastiness sticks around for a century afterwards. After they come in and they puff it up, and they did it in my hometown up on the Iron Range, right? Mm-hmm. They came in, and Virginia, Minnesota was called the Star City because the wives of all of these owners of the steel mines up there, there were like 20 of them at the time. They all made millions and billions on it. But basically, unfortunately, they were all males, and their wives formed a committee, and they built the most fantastic city in northern Minnesota with boulevards and flowers and theaters and these buildings. And now today, because the mining industry has been up and down, a lot of that stuff has just fallen into disrepair. And
sure,
they're still managing to keep Virginia a little bit shiny in some parts, but it was a lot shinier in 1930 than it is right now.
Sure. Capitalism is intentionally short-sighted.
I was wondering.
Quarters.
I was wondering if there's anything wrong with this statement that capitalism is great for communities as long as things are looking up.
Right.
But when things start to leave and businesses start to abandon a place, capitalism does good because of the poverty, the desperateness, the hopelessness. Some people don't have the mobility that others have, and what's left behind is sadness.
Yeah, but that isn't capitalism. Okay, that is a particular brand of capitalism that's been around long enough to bump around and filter out so that just there's these few individuals that are controlling all the wealth, right? We used to have laws against monopolies that were designed to regulate that.
That's true.
Capitalism would work really well if it were regulated to a certain point, highly regulated, right? And I think it'd be really viable because, I mean, who the hell doesn't want to put together a portfolio with, $5 million in it and retire and have a chance at owning a business and employing 30, 40 people? But they own a business and they employ, millions or hundreds of thousands of people. And then at their whim, they can completely pull the rug out from every one of those people and not have a single obligation to do anything about taking care of them thereafter.
Yeah, and you want your community, your city, or whatever, to be more than just a company town, too. Right. Now, I don't know what other industry was in Gary, other than U.S. Steel, but it seems like obviously U.S. Steel being the biggest employer, the community was way too dependent on them.
Yeah,
and didn't take measures to alleviate that that dependence. No, you're right. Nobody was far-sighted enough to realize they needed to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, I'm trying to edit a document and I'm having lots of trouble.
So I hesitated to come in today. Yeah, I saw you dropped the link, and
yeah, and I saw you were going to leave social media again.
Yeah, I'm not going to stream anymore on my page, and I don't know. I figure, you know what? We're just three old guys just randomly talking about whatever pops into our head. So there really is no standard here for me to fail. And I think, I could show up.
Well,
You know,
thank you for that.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Holy shit, James.
You're welcome. Well, I've decided since yesterday I'm going to brace the inner asshole. I'm just going to admit it.
I'm raising a
I'm an
toast
asshole.
to James.
That's what I am. I'm an asshole. So there we are.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, no, I needed to be humbled.
There you go. The service I provide for free.
A service you provide for everybody.
There you go.
Awesome.
Now, when you do, to be fair, when you start talking about science, there is a standard there, but that's why I don't contribute to those, right? It's not just three old guys talking at this point. It's educational. The facts matter all of a sudden, and then we're going to dive into some specifics instead of just saying that Sal sucks and religion is stupid, right? So, it's fine.
Well, you may or may not have written a pretty long thing in one of your blogs on the Myth Vision podcast, but the comment you got on it was fantastically well put. Thank you for sharing. What feel about your above post being shared? Okay.
That who the person? How'd you find that?
I get notifications for everything you do, James.
Fascinating. I'm glad someone's keeping an eye on me.
Oh yeah,
it's not safe to let me run free.
Yeah.
So that
you
was.
haven't checked for cameras in your room lately, have you?
To be fair, that guy is one of my most dedicated followers. Just to be supportive, he saw the stream. I've been down on myself. So the very next thing I posted could have been a recipe for cornflakes that only involved twigs and berries, and he still would have said exactly the same thing, because he's like, you know what, James is feeling down on himself. Let me try to help him feel better. So, and I appreciated it, but I also didn't respond because I didn't really want to play that game, right? It's like, because I'm not fishing for compliments. I don't want people to ease my wounded ego. I don't want people saying, "Oh, James, we love you. You're great." I don't want that shit. Like, just tell it to me, right?
Nerdy, Nerdy Rodent. I actually wrote that program. James Check 1 point. Yeah. Well, no, I'm working on a newer version.
Yeah.
Every time James flushes the toilet, you get a notification.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's an easy one to write. You just have to have the right embedded software in your sensor.
You see this? I'm just all over the place today. I'm waiting for my brain to settle down.
Well, there's a link for you to provide in the description in the private chat whenever you're ready.
I believe.
Wait a minute, I can do those now, can't I?
Oh God, I thought I already did that, but then apparently, things are running pretty fast up here today. I don't know what's going wrong. Okay, let me put that in there. I'll do that right now.
Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, if that post that I had posted, I think it was in Myth Vision that was on. If it had been even half as good as he said, somebody else would have responded to it. It was just absolute dog shit. And I don't know if I've got early dementia going on, or if it's just because I just don't get enough sleep at night, and I've got the depression and anxiety and all this other stuff and the brain fog. Like, I don't know what's going on, but man, I really not happy with my brain. So,
well, I think what's going on is that you're having a crisis of self-image. And that's all it is. It's
a crisis of function. I appreciate what you're saying, but I just feel like.
See, you want to argue with me because you have a crisis.
I do want to argue with you. I want to argue with you because I don't think I bring value, and it's my fault. Like, I shouldn't be. I just waste too much time on social media. I should be out there developing myself instead of rambling. you know,
TV
or
show that. Okay.
whatever.
Anyway, okay, we'll get there. But anyway, your like your style of writing blogs is so much more readable than most other blogs that I've written. Like I have a definitely diagnosed ADHD, which is hell on earth for people that have it. My son just corrected me because I always make light of it, and it's not a light thing. People that suffer from it suffer deeply, right? And I totally lost my fucking train of thought as a result because I'm looking at a video because I'm running at a high level right now. But,
Squirrel.
yeah, squirrel. What the fuck was I saying?
Hey, I'm about, unless you've already done it, I'm about to paste that Gary, Indiana video into private chat.
Please, no, paste it into the show description too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll do it.
Yeah, that'd be even better because you can do that right now.
I can do it.
Oh God,
I'm a beast. No, James, don't get yourself discouraged because the feedback isn't so immediate or whatever. Just keep plugging away. If you have a thought, if you have something you want to share, pick a medium to share it in and do it.
Sure. So here's the thing. It must be that some of what I say makes sense because people agree, and they probably wouldn't agree if they didn't understand what I'm on about. But when people agree with me, that just means I'm preaching to the choir. I'm saying a thing that they happen to agree with, and what's the value in that? I don't think there is any. And then when people disagree with me, they tend to get pissed off. What's the value in that? Again, probably none. And it's just like, what am I doing? Really, what am I doing? Back when I started my YouTube channel, it was about creating an opportunity for community, right? Helping build a community. And then once I got disillusioned with that project and decided I don't really want to help build community anymore, and here are the new reasons, the things that I was mistaken about before, the foolish decisions that I made. And I'm like, well, what do I do? Like, why? If somebody were to ask me why I've been live streaming, and my answer is I don't fucking know why I've been live streaming. I have no idea why I hit play, go live, and just start talking. I don't know why I do it.
Same reason we're doing it right now today.
To try and take over the world. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, I picked up the thread again. Okay, the reason I like your blogs is because for a person that's ADHD, it's very difficult to read large blocks of text sometimes, right?
Well, I appreciate that.
And you break things up in a very, very neat, concise manner and pepper it with, memes and stuff like that. And I find your stuff readable from the beginning to the end without losing, the thread along the way. Along with that, you're very good at writing. Whoever that asshole that told you weren't good enough for his paper was having a bad day. A bit of beef.
See, I appreciate you saying that, but this is the reason why I didn't tell anybody the name of the guy, because he's very well liked, very respected. He's been sponsored on Myth. He's been a sponsored guest on Myth Vision many times, and he's a prolific author, and he works for a very popular blogging platform. And this guy's just at the top of his game, and he's like, nah. Basically, it's like you know how tone deaf people think that they can sing and they can't sing. It's like that. He's like, man, this is just not your bag. This is just not your thing. And I appreciated the feedback, right? But ever since then, I've been like, well, then what do I do?
How many other people have given you that same feedback?
Everybody that for a period of an entire year or two doesn't comment on a single one of my posts, even though I know they see them. That's feedback in itself. That's like voting with your dollars. They're not spending a single cent.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, some professional writer who's told you that.
I haven't asked any other professionals. I haven't. Okay. And it's the thing. Like, I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm really not. It's just not what I'm supposed to be doing. And the problem is, I know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, and I'm too tired to do it. Right? This is why I sit at my computer thinking, well, how can I make a difference? How can I connect with people? How can I share ideas and grow? Because I'm physically too tired to go do anything in life that isn't in front of my computer because I have chronic fatigue syndrome. And so what I've realized recently is the solution. Now, I'm not being a defeatist. I'm not like surrendering to depression or anything. I'm like, the solution then is going to have to be that I conquer the chronic fatigue syndrome, which is why I've been watching so many videos about that lately and doing some research for it, because until I conquer that, I can't do anything that matters, because the skill sets you need in order to build a successful blog or YouTube channel or anything else are not really in my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is out there in the physical world. I'm just too freaking tired to do it. And so that's the solution. I just got to get non-tired. That's it. That's that damn simple.
So Logan Fisher provided this link, the TV show that brainwashed children. Has anybody seen this?
I have not. Logan Fisher, thank you for letting us know.
Yeah.
Which TV show brainwashed children?
It's called the TV show that brainwashed children.
Without Palestine, our childhood means nothing.
Ooh. So this is, let's see here, start speaking a new language. No, that's Babel. So, oh my God, he's advertising stuff. So Nick Crawley is the name of the channel, but I have no idea what it's about. But the what Logan said about it sounded provocative.
Sounds very provocative.
What's happening right now?
December 29th, 2008. The Gaza war had just begun, but already Israeli missiles were raining down on the Gaza Strip, annihilating police buildings, military bases, and anything they deemed to be a threat. It was carnage on the streets, as residents in the Strip were left helplessly waiting to see what target Israel would choose next. Though that day, when the missiles again fell from the sky, they would strike a rather strange target, a small, little-known TV station called Al-Aqsa TV. And that day, it was Israel's sole intention to end their broadcast forever. Though when the smoke cleared, the broadcast somehow remained. With content comparable to the public access channel, you might think this is an odd site to attack, especially when it's revealed that the attacks didn't even end there. In 2014, Al-Aqsa TV's headquarters would again be bombed and destroyed, as well as in 2018, and even as recently as 2021.
Oh my God, yes, I need to go down. We're going to direct the camera now towards the explosion.
Though through it all, their broadcast has stayed on the air. And you might be right, this would be a bizarre target had Al-Aqsa TV been like any other station. In reality, the content played on their airwaves featured propaganda, the likes of which we have never really seen in the modern age. And at the heart of it all was one program that stood above the rest, as rather than focusing on the adults in the region, it was instead aimed at the youth, the future of the country, the pioneers of tomorrow, culminating into what can only be described as the darkest children's show ever created.
Tomorrow's Pioneers, a weekly children's show.
It looks like Mickey Mouse. It sounds like Mickey Mouse. But do you think Mickey Mouse would ever tell kids to fight Americans and the Jews?
Before you fall down this rabbit hole,
Wow.
So it's an anti-Palestinian, or Nick Crowley's doing an anti-Palestinian video.
Well, he's doing an anti-propaganda video.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wherever you land on that, whatever side you land on, it's still, using Mickey Mouse to tell, if that's what's happening here, they're using Mickey Mouse to tell them to kill Americans and Jews and their children, then yeah. I don't know who Nick Crawley is. Does anybody know? I don't know. He's got 2 million viewers almost, so somebody. Anyway, it's bizarre. So, I wonder if they get into any content here. Oh, here we go.
it gets.
Therefore, it looks like Mickey Mouse, but this Palestinian children's character doesn't talk like Mickey or sing like any Mouseketeer.
Okay.
7. With the inaugural episode, Farfour is caught speaking English. The program aired in a 60-minute Friday morning time slot that was often most popular with preschoolers and other young children, as they would be the show's targeted demographic. In the show, we are introduced to Sarah and Farfour, and much like the title would suggest, its premise centers around Farfour having been caught speaking English by his uncle Hazim, a character played by Hazim al-Sharari, the actual creator of the show, to which Farfour is chastised for, as his uncle and Sarah believe he should be speaking their native language of Arabic.
عفور إني سمعتك تقول باللغة الإنجليزية والله.
Hello? نعم. How are you يا سراء? I hope to be good time.
نعم.
مالك يا فرفور؟ انت ليش هيك بتحكي؟ مش احنا اتفقنا ان نحكي باللغة العربية الفصحى؟
هذه اللغة يا سراء لغة العالم المتقدم، لغة العالم اللي بيفهم، اللي بيخترع، بس هيك؟
لا يا فرفور، انت غلطان عشان انت بتعرفش ان المسلمين هم اساس الحضارة.
The episode then cuts to Sarah, who explains that the show will act as a nucleus for the reunion of Palestine with the land that they once owned.
أننا نحن العظماء.
We the great one. Oh my God. Okay, this is pretty fucking weird. Yeah.
Wow.
Creepy.
Islam is the basis for civilization.
Okay.
Come on.
But think about this now. Like I was wondering, like I was listening to that Christian idiot. I went and listened to the video that you were talking about yesterday that came down on this Christy Burke.
Oh yeah, you tell him speller. You mean?
Yeah, so I went and listened to his stuff, right? And I'm always musing about, because I've been an atheist forever, and I had exposure to Christianity in real early childhood, and a lot of people around me were Christians, but there wasn't enough influence to tip me over, so I was basically an atheist since say. But now, if you're immersed in an entire family of believers, and your entire community has believers, and there's churches on every block like there is in every small town, that would account for why you would believe in something that I consider so ridiculous that nobody but a child should believe in it, right? But yet a lot of adults are buying into this stuff. But if you're like totally immersed in this from the moment you're born, and both of you two were immersed in it, right? From a very early age throughout your life. Is that that's correct? You both of you, right? And and I'm coming from a very different view of this. But now, imagine that you were like, okay, you were raised by a pack of wolves on a desert island or something. I don't know if they have wolves on desert islands, but anyway, imagine that. All right, would you ever somehow come upon and say a Bible was dropped out of a plane along with a bunch of other books? Would you become a Christian if you were raised entirely without any cultural immersion in Christianity? And if you wouldn't, then I would say that's a good reason not to believe in Christianity. Because if Christianity were true, God should in some way come down and make you pick up that one book, which is his book, his word, and tell you that this is the one religion, this is the one thing that you should concentrate on, because this is the truth. All those science books they dropped out of the plane, ignore those. This is the truth. You see what I mean? If you were not immersed in that culture, then you would not be a Christian in any way. You wouldn't be defending this stuff. None of these people would be defending this stuff. And what happened with you and Scott, I presume, is that some point something kind of tipped your head so that you saw above what you were immersed in, and you started to question the whole thing. And as soon as you pull one thread, the whole thing fell apart, right? That's a deconversion story. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, but what I'm concerned about is the amount of this crap we have in our country right now. Like on Erica's show the other day, they had this statistic that 43% of Americans are kind of yak, young earth creationists. I mean, this is incredibly bad for a country.
Sure.
What are we going to do about this?
If you're asking me, I'm going to pretend that's not rhetorical, and I'm going to answer it. What I'm going to do about that is let America finish destroying itself, because it's not my job to save a country, nor do I have the money or the power of influence that it would take to do so. So there you go. Have at it.
Hi, Andrew. You're there. Yeah. I don't know. You have to be immersed in it, though. But if Christianity were true, do you agree that you shouldn't have to be immersed in it? That somehow that person on the desert island, raised in a pack of wolves, who had access to a Bible and 100 other books, would become a Christian if Christianity were true. There would be a way for God to get through to him.
Right. So I'm going to say something about that and just hope that the random string of words coming out of my mouth just happen to coincidentally make any sense at all. And
That
I'm going
never
to point,
happens, James. So
right,
don't
one of
call
these,
that.
right, it's like playing the lottery. Eventually, I'm going to hit the right sequence.
Okay. Go ahead. Give it.
So let's try again.
Take a
So I've
shot.
been told a great many times by Christian fundamentalists that the reason we can know a God exists is because we look around us and we see the way that nature works, the way that physics works, and the fact that beauty and love exist and things like that. So it's a way of God testifying to his own existence. And then beyond that, the way that we can know what the moral thing to do is, or that morality is a thing, is because he wrote it in our hearts. So here he gave us, without any Bible and without any religion, he gave us everything that we need to know to put together the pieces and see that they paint the picture of Christianity. Problem is that even if we grant that, even if we grant, just for the sake of argument, that the existence of the orderliness of physics and the beauty and the harmony of nature and blah blah blah, even if we grant that this is evidence of a God, and then even if we grant this whole written in our hearts thing about morality, just for the sake of argument, we can't get any further than that. There's the distance between where we end up and where Christianity begins is a huge chasm of emptiness. There's nothing in nature. There's nothing in physics. There's nothing in beauty. There's nothing in love. There's nothing in the lived experience anywhere in the world that, without a Bible and without religious preachers, builds the ideas that define Christianity. There's nothing about getting up in the morning that makes you think that some Jewish carpenter in the Iron Age died as a ritual sacrifice to appease a wrathful deity. There's nothing about cornflakes. There's nothing about going to the bathroom. There's nothing about falling in love. Pick anything from the mundane to the meaningful in anybody's life, the lived experience. There's nothing about those moments, not by themselves and not when strung together or seen in a larger context, that tells us any of the crap that Bibles say. We would never arrive at the conclusions that are specific to Christian dogma without hearing Christian dogma articulated from somebody reading the damn book. And so this is exactly what you're saying, that
Right.
it doesn't, life doesn't testify to the existence of or to the legitimacy of Christianity. It just doesn't, right? And so in order to testify to that, they've got some book and these complicated, weird arguments. And their theory, when you really think about it, boils down to this: that God was bored and he decided to make a board game, right? Like the game of life or Monopoly or something else, with completely arbitrary rules, and decided that it would be more fun if some of the pieces were sentient, right? So that they can really, so that it really seems like it matters. And then now that he's made these arbitrary rules, now he has to satisfy the arbitrary rules that he made. Therefore, he must have a human sacrifice in the Iron Age with this ritual blood event to, let him forgive us for being the way that he made us in the first place. Right? It's just it's completely nonsensical.
Yeah,
But
there's nothing there's nothing about the palm trees on that desert island or the coconut trees that would point to the Bible as the one book that he should pick up and believe in.
Right, nothing.
And that basically is the best evidence against God, that there's nothing specific about it.
Yeah, and if our education system were not controlled by short-sighted politicians and people were given a wide balance of source material, they would find that Christianity and Buddhism and Confucianism and all sorts of isms provide a quite similar roadmap of,
all right, everyone,
of what societies have said is the moral behavior that humans thrive under when when you treat each other well, when you don't murder, don't steal, ethical and moral guidelines. They're there across cultures, across history, across generations.
Yeah. Yep. The Ellen Watts take on Christianity is the only way to make any sense out of it is that it is a board game. That God and his buddy the devil were bored, and God said, or the devil said, "Hey, you be the good guy, I'll be the bad guy. We'll create this race of icons or players between us, and we'll scare the fuck out of them. We'll tell them that if they think a bad thought, and here's the cool thing, because we're going to inject bad thought biology into them so that they can't possibly not think bad thoughts. And then we're going to put them between us. And we're going to tell them if they think one bad thought and don't quickly go through this ritual, that they're going to burn in hell forever, for everlasting eternity. And that if they make it all the way through, they get the heaven prize, and we're going to scare the fuck out of these guys, and that's basically what it is. It's a board game that does that. And it is so obvious when you look at it from the meta view, that there's this adversary, the demon, the devil, the bad guy. And then there's this, the so loving father, who's sternly looking down upon you and judging you. And it just makes more sense as a board game than anything else. Good cop, bad cop. There you go. Scott, by the way, if you put a link in with Restream, I overrode it with YouTube Studio. So
yeah, that's right. I'm handing over to you the private chat stuff. The Gary, Indiana link is now available to you if you haven't put it in yet.
Yeah,
there it is. By the way, that channel is Joe and Nick's Road Trip.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm going to put a link to the actual channel because the way they spell Joe and Nick's Road Trip, you're just not going to. Well, I guess the search can.
Yeah, if you click that video and go to channel,
they'll find it. But yeah, it's a good channel. Like I've been looking at the Texas small towns that he's gone through. In West Texas, the majority of the population is white, and lo and behold, of those small deteriorating towns, and lo and behold, the poverty level is much lower because that's where all the capital is concentrated.
Yeah,
even for low.
Maybe we should put the channel link. Maybe we should put the channel link in there because Sal Cordova might be listening, and I don't think he's smart enough to figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have we covered Sal and everything yet? Other than
I think I did. I want to. I guess maybe I should make this point again. Sal thinks he's special. He thinks he's smarter than he is. He thinks he's more educated than he actually is.
But you don't have any videos or like live chat excerpts to show or anything like that? Because I know you said DapperDino interacted with him a bit in the side chat.
Yeah, well, I got this, basically this video that. Okay, so Sal showed this Star Wars clip, right? Or he mentioned it. Where who's that? Princess
Carrie
Leia.
Fisher and Harrison Ford.
The characters. Han Solo
and Princess Leia.
Right. They're having this moment, right, where she calls him. She says, "Oh, you're pretty nice when you're not being a scoundrel." And Sal wants to compare that to him and Dapper. So in this video, Sal is on the left. He's Princess Leia. No, I guess it's the opposite. No, I know. Okay, so he's Han Solo because he's Slimy Sal. And he wants Dapper to, kiss him, or he's going to kiss Dapper at the end of it. That's kind of the comparison that Sal was making. That him and DapperDino have had this sort of moment in their relationship. They're going through a rough stretch. Let's put it that way. Okay. And at the end of it, I think he expects a kiss, but I'm not sure.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Like
Anyway,
he deserves something like that. Well,
Yeah.
you know, if he I don't think he still hasn't watched the videos where, and now it's all been compiled together in one big movie, because Dapper does that. He'll break them up into parts and then make up one big extended video out of all the parts. And Sal hasn't even bothered to watch those. And he's defending, is it Sanford? Sanford's his
yeah.
his
Yeah, I think him and Sanford may have had a falling out because he criticized Sanford's use of thermodynamics or something, or entropy or something like that. I don't know. And I think they may have had a falling out because he no longer works for Sanford.
Oh, well, that's the way it is with Sal. He comes in friendly, acts like cool, because Erica, and just thought he was a good person, and Dapper.
So did Dapper, yeah.
Would stand for him, here and there, and then Sal showed that he's a slimy apologist.
Yeah. So here's what. Oh my God, what happened to my? Hang on a second here. Okay, here's what Dapper said on his community channel about Sal. Does anybody want to read this, or am I capable of reading this?
I can read it.
Oh yeah, go ahead if you can read it, please.
Yeah, for a while, Sal Cordova of Evidence and Reasons. Evidence and Reason seemed to have cleared up his act from his time on Reddit, where he was commonly known as Slimy Sal for his blatant quote mining refusal to engage in meaningful dialogue and rudeness. Essentially, Reddit Sal was just Donnie SFT with more education. After giving him many opportunities to just watch the videos of mine he has purported to respond to, he admits to not having watched them intentionally so. Yesterday afternoon, before my stream with Zach, Sal had already started what would end up being a nearly 5-hour response stream, which is what he is talking about in this screenshot. I'm not angry with Sal. This is pretty typical YEC behavior. I am, however, disappointed that someone I tried to have a high opinion of, whom I had just private chats with, whom I've even collaborated with more than once, has just regressed to the slime ball he was years ago. His default debate tactic was to lie about scientific paper and call people names. Don't go harass Sal over this, but feel free to respectfully let him know what a bad look this is. Yes. And I can't see anything else because of that's just show less, I think. So anyway.
Yeah, that's the end of it. So anyway, so Sal went live like 15 or 20 minutes into Dapper's stream with a takedown stream on Dapper's stream without having even watched more than, like 10 minutes of it. And anyway, Sal said he had to do that because Rebecca from Bread of Life was his co-host and whatever. So anyway, but that was kind of amusing. And then he goes on to defend himself about cherry picking quotes, and he this is Dapper Dinosaurs. Dapper Dinosaurs was in the live chat.
Cry harder, Sal.
And I don't know if Sal really got the meaning of what Dapper was saying there, but it was the breakup is kind of spectacular and interesting. I just think it's wonderful. But then he goes on and he tries to defend himself, for this. He tries to defend himself about cherry picking quotes, right? And that was when I come to this realization that these people don't understand what they're doing. Like one of the cherry pick quotes, I forget who it was by. Can't think of it right now. Anyway, one of the cherry pick quotes, Sal said, even if he didn't mean that, even if he didn't mean what he was saying, and it was read in context in a different way, it turns out to be just perfectly the right thing to say about evolution. So it said something really negative about evolution. Sal cherry picked it. Sal realizes that the guy wasn't really saying that about evolution. It was, embedded in a context, right? And then Sal says, but even if it wasn't embedded in the context, this is something I would have said about evolution. So he defended his cherry picking in that fashion, which is not a defense for cherry picking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but he just blatantly went ahead and did it.
Even if I was wrong about it, I'm still right.
I'm still right, even if I was wrong about what the guy was saying. And his on a number of his videos, he said, I'm going to show you how evolution is falling apart and how it's all wrong in their own words. And I'm going to give you quotes from prominent evolutionary biologists like Wagner, who he mentions in this video.
So he's lying about papers again.
Yeah. And so he picks all these quotes and he says, okay, this proves it. Okay, obviously evolutionary biology is falling apart. Well, then you go and look these guys up. And they're the people that are basically doing evolutionary biology, and they're behind the theory 100%. I think it was Andreas Wagner. Wagner. Yeah, I had. Anyway, I looked up.
Are you catching these comments in the chat, Mike?
Oh, I'm missing a lot of them.
Yeah, you're missing some good stuff there.
Okay, how far back do I got to go? Okay.
Oh, you don't got to scroll down at all. Just look at the last 4 or 5 things.
Well, Ox is doing some sort of Schadenfreude, so I'll put that on the screen. What are you doing? I'm putting some Schadenfreude on the screen. Speed.
Okay, go ahead.
Funny. Ox said over a year ago that Sal was a joke, but Ox was told to shut up. LMFAO, told you so. So I'm glad Ox is able to dwell in that Schadenfreude moment.
What else? Oh, yeah, that was the one that I was trying to put up. We were both trying to put it up at the same time, as we always do, Scott.
Yeah.
Right. And I also like Nerdy Rodent's comment. The reason why I take it out of context is so that it sounds like something I'd agree with.
Yeah, that is exactly what Sal said in this video. I mean, if you really look at what he was saying, that's it. And that's supposed to be his evidence for evolution being bad.
I guess if you can take a scientific paper, take what it says out of context to make it support your point of view, that's what science papers are for.
Yeah.
And then your opinion will be scientific because that's what scientific papers are for.
Oh, I missed a few links here too. Let's see, I missed one by Spooky to a GeoSam. What was that one? Oh, the GeoSam site.
Nice. Can you imagine a world where they convince everybody that evolution isn't true? No evolution, no abiogenesis either. And they go to hold a press conference, and the first thing they say is, we have vindicated the truth of Christianity. And all of a sudden, some Hindu in the crowd says, no, the fuck you haven't. And then a Muslim says, yeah, you really haven't proven anything about your religion there, dude. And then a whole bunch of other religions start speaking up and like, yeah, you haven't proved anything. All you've done is convince everybody that evolution isn't true. That's not the same thing as proving that we need Jesus Christ. This is not even in the same ballpark. So here they are. It's a complete non sequitur. There is no correlation, no logical follow through from the idea of evolution isn't true, therefore Jesus. It's just not even a coherent idea.
Yeah, because we don't even say there is no Jesus, therefore evolution. That's what they think we say. That's what they think. Science is all about, and it's just not. It's like we're seeking knowledge by finding the best model in the data.
Hey, Johnny is with us. I haven't been watching the chat. So, Andrew, you asked a question and I missed it.
I think it's supposed to be this one.
What's that? Which one? Oh, are you putting it?
I put on the screen.
Are you interested in? Oh, yes.
Mesozoic mammal diversity. I mean, I'd consider it, but I usually prefer dating humans. Send me some pictures. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, you might be interested in dating some of them.
If she's cute enough.
Mammals are the best. First line of encyclopedia. Here's another slimy. Yeah, that's interesting, Vesta. Anyway, this guy keeps going on about this, like this got you that, proteins don't have a common ancestor. I mean, it's just, it almost sounds like to anybody who knows nothing at all about biology or evolution or anything, it would sound like, oh God, he's got something there, right? But it's like, okay, there's a common ancestor for, you pick any two species that are alive today, and we could say there was a common ancestor at some point in the past, right? All the way back. And we go all the way back to where we end up, just after like abiogenesis, what we would call abiogenesis, and we had viable cells. Even at that point, that population of viable cells that became the common ancestor of us all had thousands of proteins in them, right? And if you go back a little bit further to the first point where, say, a cell membrane was formed and it encapsulated a bunch of biomolecules, there were still thousands of proteins. And if you go all the way back to before cell membranes, there were still thousands of proteins. So proteins never had a necessity. I mean, it's not necessary for evolution to say that all proteins had to evolve from one protein. I mean, it's ridiculous. And he thinks this is Nobel Prize material that he has come up with. That he has come up with this, and no other biologist wants to talk about it. Another biologist look at him like, are you a fucking, like, okay, I want to tell you a story. So, like, shortly after I moved to Minneapolis from the Iron Range, I went back and visited my friend Rodney at his cabin, right? And he had a dog who was obviously insane. He had an insane or very brain damaged dog. It had got hit by a car or something like that, and most of his brain didn't work. And this dog was running around the yard collecting rocks and putting them in a pile. And then he would stand guard on his pile. So when the other dogs came around, he would growl at them and snap at them. So, I mean, this dog thought these rocks were like the most valuable bones ever, right? And he wasn't going to let any other. And this dog was absolutely hilarious in his. It's actually kind of sad for the dog, because once Rodney would throw a rock across the yard, and the dog would go fetch it and bring it back to his pile. So once Rodney threw a really heavy rock in the lake, and the dog almost drowned trying to get the rock back. He dove in after it, grabbed the rock, and stayed down there. And Rodney had to pull him up by his fur in order to save the dog's life, because he would have drowned. So that's Sal Cordova. He's got this little thing, something so stupid that nobody else in the world would acknowledge it. And he's saying, this is the most special idea. This is like Nobel Prize material. Do you understand? You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, he thinks he's found a silver bullet for evolution.
It's fucking amazing. And it's
nobody has seen. It's been there all this time, but nobody's seen it.
And everybody else is looking at him like, how could you be this ignorant? How could you possibly be this ignorant? So, I apologize, Sal. I thought you were a liar, and you knew you were lying. I thought you were smart enough to know that this protein orchard idea is not a good one. But no, you actually believe this shit. And I feel sorry for him. I mean, anyway, that's my public apology to Sal.
Okay, yeah. You thought he was a liar, but it turns out he's an idiot.
Just an idiot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will not. I would not even think of depriving you of that opinion and that opportunity to retract previous statements.
Yeah, and I hope you can see the kindness in my voice and the compassion I have when I say Sal's an idiot.
Well, you grow as a human, and you've shown signs of growth.
Yeah.
We've offended, apparently, Johnny. He takes exception to the claim that Sal takes things out of context. Sal doesn't understand context.
Well, yeah. He would need to know where the context was. He'd need to know how to tell the difference between the context and cherry.
Well, sorry, John. He didn't mean to to bring exception into your day today, but you know, we hear you. We hear you.
The smartest Matt Paul. I think he is. How the hell did he get degrees from a university? What? How does that
He
happen?
just knows how to work the test taking system.
Yes, so. I don't know. Yes.
Okay, Andrew Cumming is requesting a video.
Yeah, we should do a video on this. So Andrew, you're in charge of putting together content for us. He's requesting another video?
Yes.
What's he requesting now? What does he want? He's so needy. Okay. Oh my goodness.
You still with us, James?
Yes. Now stick with us, James, because this is about.
Yeah, we got off on a slightly sciencey topic. I don't want to lose James.
Not that science. Yeah, I know. Okay. Don't say the word out loud, or James will fucking disappear like a flash. No, I think he went to sleep already, or else he's.
Well,
no.
you know, apparently he has difficulty sleeping. So any chance he gets to catch up, I'm in favor of.
He's fighting on Facebook right now. I bet.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. So Andrew wants us to play this video. Can we play this video?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no!
Yikes!
Oh no, Andrew!
Oh, and then he adds next. I think there should be a ... before that for no good reason. So he wants us to play this video for no good reason. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Andrew, for that moment of levity.
Yeah. Oh, I got one. Give me a minute. Have we reached James yet?
Hey, David has finally decided to join us.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, it's Dave. It's Captive Death Dave.
Hey, no, it's the other Dave.
Oh, it's Laurie Hayes Dave. Okay.
Yes.
I just can't keep my Dave straight.
My audio okay?
It's a little muffled, kind of.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll turn you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Turn you up a little bit. I'll turn you up a lot.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
I had to jump in. I don't know if you guys have seen Antangelo just put out a video in the funniest thing, right? It was I forget what the video was called, but he was trying to, poke holes in Professor Dave's, the foreign Professor
really?
Dave, and he played the friggin' music that what's the music? The Benny Hill.
The Benny Hill, yeah.
Oh
music they
no!
play? Yes, he kept playing it. Yep,
Yakety sax.
I thought that
Awesome.
was hilarious. So you have to watch. You have to see it.
Okay, we'll have to go find it here. But I wanted to show this first because I don't know if you've ever seen ferocious feral cats before, but this is a really good video about feral cats, and everybody should watch it. A cautionary tale: if you happen to run into one of these critters, just watch this.
Ferocious kittens that you could ever imagine. Aren't they terrifying? They are barely 4 weeks. See, they have little teeth.
You hear them hissing?
This is what a 4-week-old looks like. And this is why 4 weeks is a great age to take them away from a feral mama. Because even at 4 weeks, they're just vicious. Oh, you're so scary. Oh, you're so scary. What am I going to do with you?
Ooh,
You think you're so scary? I mean, within a day, they'll be tame. But within another week, we couldn't have caught them by hand. We would have had to.
Anyway, feral kittens, they're just so vicious. The poor little things.
That's funny.
They can barely hiss. They make this little sound, and they're just funny as shit.
Yeah.
And their teeth are so soft that if they bit hard on your finger, the teeth would break. So,
wow.
Run kittens. Oh no, kittens. They're horrible. That's the way Loki was when I first got him. He was just, he was just absolutely a hissy little monster. He'd go hide behind my books in the library. I had just made all my books even, so my library looked really good. They were pulled out to the edge, and he ran behind them, so I had to push all my library books back against the wall so I could get the goddamn cat to come out from the library so I could start to tame him, So Loki started out. Hissy little kitty.
So what do you think? What do you think of Antangelo using that music?
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. That I find it funny, but it's like
I don't think he understands why we use it. He doesn't get the joke, right?
Yeah, I get. I don't know.
I think it's fair to say he probably doesn't get the joke. So
yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
When you get a chance, I've got a heartwarming video in the private chat now to show. I don't know how long it is. It's like 3 minutes, but it's about the guy seeing a raccoon behaving oddly and lifts the car cover.
What's this raccoon doing? Oh, let me work on this. I have so many things to put in my description. Oh, okay. Getting it together here. You can probably tell there's something ain't right about me today, right? Something ain't right.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Should I help him? Is his head stuck? Hey, buddy, hold on. Oh, he's getting choked. Uh-oh. Raccoon rescue. Oh, dude. I'll save your life.
What the hell?
Oh, no. Hold on, buddy. Oh, God, don't bite me. Don't bite me. Don't bite me.
Yeah, that's where you go and you get your really thick leather gloves.
And a knife. If you just cut the thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get some gloves. I'm gonna save your life, buddy.
I would just cut the damn thing.
Those are the wrong gloves. Those are just those little cloth garden gloves, aren't they?
Yeah, I love welding gloves.
That'll protect you from dirt, but not anything else.
Yeah, there you go. Got it.
Except he's using like baby.
Okay, this guy is not the person I'd call if I was having a heart attack or I needed help.
Yeah, you'd be dead by the time he can figure it out.
This knife is
So.
Is that even a knife?
It's a box cutter.
Maybe.
He's about to die, man. I'm trying to save him. This little knife ain't cutting it.
You get a pair of scissors, you. Jesus Christ. This is a poor thing. How did the raccoon do this?
I don't know. That's what's weird. I hope they're not like wrapping up raccoons just to make videos.
That was my first thought, but I thought I'm not going to say it because that's just me being really, really cynical.
Really skeptical about people.
But that is my first thought, which it shouldn't be, but it is.
People do things for clicks and attention and comments, man.
Did he get it off? So he's still got the blanket in his mouth?
Interesting.
Got it.
There's those feel good.
Yeah, there we go.
Feelings there.
A happy story, but like those guys are really incompetent.
Yeah. You know, that just tells me I need more implements around the garage for cutting and freeing. I need some really thick leather gloves, but
Yeah.
I don't cover my car, so I don't think there will be a raccoon
Yeah, that makes
incident.
sense. This makes me think of a new thing I want to put in my screenplay about Jesus's death. I think I'm going to have Judas change his mind after Jesus is up there, and he goes back with like some pliers and some other stuff. Man, I changed my mind. I'm sorry about that, Jesus. I'm gonna get you down from there. Don't worry. And he takes so long trying to figure out a way to cut Jesus down that Jesus dies anyways.
There you go.
Holy shit. Okay, I don't know if I can. Let's see. Okay, can I do this? Oh, I'm going to try this. Okay, I guess my private messages are off the screen. I hate Facebook. You know, what the hell, Facebook? Anyway, we got a raccoon in a dumpster here, and I don't know what he's doing. He's got a board.
Oh, he's trying to get out. Can't get out.
Yeah, and he's actually using that board?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Looks like it. Yeah.
He's been carrying it around. Holy shit. So, like, my garbage can was open this morning. They checked it, and there was no garbage in it, so. And I've tried everything to keep him out. I guess a bungee cord will work, but I'm too lazy to go get one. Holy shit.
Pay a raccoon to go get one for you.
Look at this guy. He's using tools.
I know.
Look at that.
I hope it's not a Minnesota raccoon. They'll be coming for it. Look at him. All right.
That is awesome.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Did we
That
just
is cool
witness
use, isn't it?
I think that's raccoon evolution right there. He just progressed, further in the evolution.
The way he picks up that board and starts flipping around until wow, that is pretty cool. They're pretty smart.
Speaking of critters that can do things that you wouldn't expect, where's that link to did I not put it in there about the
Angelo?
No, groundbreaking. Yeah, it's the one about the Homo Naledi. Just bring it up just so we can bring everybody's attention to it in case they haven't seen that video. It's in the private chat it's like the second listing, groundbreaking new discovery.
When you said critters doing things you didn't think they could do, I thought of a Tangelo right away.
Oh.
Oh yeah. I remember the first time I took Otangelo's lunch money, and like an hour later, I felt bad about it. I went back to see if because I left him there in the dumpster, and when I went back, Otangelo was gone, and there was a board leaned up against the side of the dumpster, and I'm like, he figured out how to get out.
Amazing.
That little bastard, like a raccoon or some shit.
He's almost as smart as a raccoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, breaking. Okay, you want to give a synopsis of this guy?
Well, basically, now there's another video which I didn't provide the link to, but it's out there of Lee Berger formally, like in front of a crowd of scientists, announcing their most recent discoveries, which were like back in January of this year. But they've discovered burial sites, like of burials of children, burials of a 13-year-old who's technically a child, but more like an adolescent youth. They've discovered carvings and etchings into the wall, primitive, but kind of equal to the in type to the kind of carvings and etchings Neanderthals did 70,000 years ago, when these are like 300,000-year-old fossils. So they've also found some drawings that look like the wall have been painted with some sort of substance that is reddish in color, also that it is luminescent slightly. And so it looks like the Homo Naledi, who are not Homo sapiens, don't seem to be related to Homo sapiens, other than the fact that they're hominids, with small brains and everything, seem to have been capable of this kind of culture of remembering the dead, of burying the dead, and then doing in I say inscriptions, but you'll see how they qualify as inscriptions if you watch the video. But it's really fascinating stuff, and it made me just kind of exclaim. I'll use that word. Who was Homo Naledi? Who were these creatures? I keep saying, who were these people? And I guess that's a good enough way to explain it, because seems like they were capable of things that we thought only Homo sapiens and Homo neanderthal, whatever his genus is, the species name is, that they were doing, only capable of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
that matches with something that has come into the news recently that basically my son was telling me about. And that is that they didn't think that human language could be acquired by AI with as few connections as the AI was using. So they ended up acquiring all of our language with very much smaller networks than they thought. Now this goes to, we think it's the size of our brain basically that's creating all these innovations, and it's actually it has more to do with the wiring between the brain regions than it does the size of the brain. So real small animals like raccoons and or chimpanzees or whatever, if they acquire these slight changes in wiring diagrams, they will achieve the same kind of intelligence that we consider human. And they basically found this with AI. They were very surprised that the AI was as capable as it was with what they provided it. So it taught us something about language, about brains, about intelligence in general. It was also a little humbling. Humans are not as smart as we think we are. We're very close to other mammals. There are just a few slight differences in capabilities with working memory and episodic memories and things like that, that sort of seem to separate us from them. But it ain't that big a thing.
Spooky has a theory.
What's that?
It's on the screen.
No, actually, I think they trained it with all languages. It was able to translate and do a whole bunch of other stuff. It wasn't just one language.
Oh, I was thinking he thinks that the Homo Naledi used American English. So I don't know.
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. Which of us he was referring to?
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to expand that a little bit, Spooky.
Yeah, the woman on the screen there, I think she does a lot of studies in early hominid stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen a few of her. Have you seen any of her videos? I've seen. She has a channel, and
yeah, I really like her channel. She's really into hominids. She does.
Yeah.
History with Kayleigh. History with Kayleigh. I'll link that in the description.
She is from the Netherlands.
That's the one. Yeah. Unless she has more than one channel, maybe that is it. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen one of her videos, but yeah, I've done some good stuff on Neanderthals and different types and talks about.
Also, have you been watching that Ember channel? Ember?
I think I've recently seen like a video from it, but I don't know that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think I've watched one or two, but I haven't seen much of it yet. Yeah,
he's doing some pretty good stuff. So, and I mentioned him, I think, on the last video that we did.
Yeah.
I wish I was functioning. I'm functioning better than I was this morning. That's for damn sure. But still not functioning entirely.
Yeah, I even had a lot of time to spend online, so I haven't really been able to watch too much. But
this morning I was so all over the place that I was ready to rip my head off. Started watching.
Today we're back with our old buddy.
There he is. Okay, I got Ember.
I just subscribed. It's the Dark Souls of YouTubers is his subtitle thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I've watched more videos than I'm letting on. I think I've watched a bunch of his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Evangelist kicked out of Satan Con. He was talking to Aaron Ra, I think. Let's see, yeah. I watched part of that. Anyway, this is a really worthwhile channel to check out. Ember. And he's doing a 1K sub party, I think, tonight. Yeah, tonight. So upcoming 1K sub party. I'm going to link that.
I have yet to.
Ooh, wait a minute. Live in 6 hours. Oh, this is just the teaser, I think, for it. He just went over 1K, and I think he did it pretty quickly because I swear I checked on him last week, and he was like at 200 subs.
Wow, really? That's great.
Really fast. So he's doing a really good job. But he's in my description is this teaser video, and let's see here, the 1K party. That's what we used to do. That's what used to be the weather report. The idea was to kind of do all this linking in the description. And of course, I quit calling it the weather report at some point because I got burned out from trying to do them remember we did them every day?
Yeah, yeah.
And like, I got so burned out. It was just like,
it was hard. It was hard to, always try to come up with material. And it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, to run a channel, you got to invest some serious time into it.
Yep. Yeah, cool. So I'm going to try to hit that tonight. I think I have a notification set for that 1K party.
I mean, once you get enough subscribers up there where you're actually getting paid by YouTube, then it's worth it spending the time. But when you're a small channel and you're not getting anything for it, it's pretty hard to justify spending the time, right? Yeah.
Let's see. Top Dog's asking a question here. Do you think it will be hard to communicate with to non-human intelligent animals if they can't talk or write back to us? Oh, God. I think we do communicate with them all the time. I mean, if you've owned a dog, I mean, you do a lot of high-level community. Like even my cats are way different than dogs. They're pretty far afield from our social structure. But I can communicate a whole lot of things to my cats. And I think I've got them understanding at least 10, if not 20 words. Go outside, party time, temptations. Soup treat. Okay, I'm not going to use the baby talk term I use on them, but go to sleep.
It's sleepy pie time now.
Well, I don't quite go that far. That even, that's too far, Scott.
Let's go night.
Anyway, but there's a whole lot of things, and between body language and me speaking the words over and over again, they know what I'm doing and they know what I mean. They also read the strength of my voice. If I'm mad, they take notice. If I raise my voice, they stop what they're doing. They basically they drop the kitten. Whatever. So I don't know. But other than that, how do you conceptual stuff? It's really hard. It's hard to. There are some things you can't explain to your dog.
What do you think about? I mean, like you said, you can communicate with your cats and you can convey what. But as far as them communicating back, that's pretty limited.
Yeah, but I kind of know what they're feeling and what a lot about them.
Yeah,
but like I can't communicate to them why I'm putting them in a box and taking them to the vet. Right? There's no way to explain that to them.
Right. So it would be limited, but
I really wish I could because I feel so bad about the things I have to do to them in order to keep them healthy. And then they think I'm being mean to them. It's like, no, I'm trying to fucking save your life, idiot.
Yep.
Yeah. And I call them idiots in the same loving way that I call Sal Cordova an idiot.
Right.
Well,
right.
No, I love my cats more. Sorry, Sal.
Yeah. I liked how you described Sal earlier like at kind of near the beginning of the video, how you described the way he, what he believes and how he's so passionate about what he does, and I find that hard to differentiate from like being friggin' nuts. I swear.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
These these young Earth creationists. I just a lot of just the religious awakenings work is just
seems
really
a little
crazy,
nuts.
and it does to me.
Once you get out of it, and I've done that in my personal life, right? Where I've had a certain belief or attitude, or I behaved in a certain way. And then all of a sudden I was able to step completely out of myself and take a look at my behavior and myself. And I look back at that person and I said, that's fucking nuts. Why were you stuck in that paradigm? And you reach sort of a higher level, right? So they're like stuck in this paradigm and they can't see themselves. Or they can't see above themselves in the fashion that you would need to do in order to be critical of your own self, sort of thing. Very difficult.
Now,
and it's a difficult thing.
Right? Take for instance James Tour.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how he behaved in that in that debate. I mean, he was like, just kind of off the wall and went kind of nuts. And here's a guy that's, I mean, look at what he's accomplished in his life, and as far as highly educated and, just a great chemist, and what he did way back, inventing that gene gun and all that, and like, just amazing. But look at,
that was
and look at how nuts he went during that debate. It's like, wow.
Yeah. So do you know what's wrong with him? The problem is spiritual.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I mean. It's that religious, right. That religious mindset. I think what?
I'm taking a slightly different tack here. He has the spiritual disease of hubris and ego, and he's looked on at his own accomplishments in science, and he started to believe his own press to the point where he thinks James Tour is like Sal. He thinks he's got this special grasp on things that nobody else has, and because of what he's done in his life, James Tour is in love with his. Have you ever heard him go through his credentials at the beginning of a talk? He does it almost in every talk, where he'll go on and on about all the things he's done in science. And if you listen to Sal Cordova, he talks every single video, he talks about his degrees, all the papers he's published, and all this bullshit. And they go on and on. And then when they talk about another scientist, they'll say the highly esteemed Nobel laureate, whatever, said this. They always put that ego out there first, right? And that is a spiritual disease. When you become so in love with yourself that you lose track of yourself and what yourself is doing in the greater, picture of humanity.
I mean, to be fair, I have no idea what I'm doing in the greater picture of humanity.
Yeah, but you're fucking questioning it, James. That means you're okay. You're okay because you are questioning your own abilities. You don't think you're the greatest fucking writer and speaker and YouTuber in history. I mean, you're picking on yourself all the time. That means you're okay.
Yeah, I can't kick my ass hard enough.
So I mean, it's healthy to be a little bit fucking humble, they say.
I'm sure you guys have heard James Tour describe his, meeting Jesus or whatever, seeing Jesus. Yeah.
That was
really
that sad.
Just is like so pathetic. To me, it's like, oh my Lord, how because of that debate, all of a sudden all kinds of James Tour crap starts popping up for me, and the little shorts, and one of them I clicked on was a short of him describing that, and I was like, oh boy.
Okay, let's just
it's sad.
Let's take a look at that.
Sad.
Seeing as how we're talking about it, right? Hang on a second here. Is that do I have the right one?
This is that Myth Vision. The the short clips that he does. Is
Yeah,
that
I'm
one of
looking
them?
for this one here. Okay, right here. So, okay, it's at 44. Hang on a second here. Conversion story. Oh,
While I was
conversion.
looking for that, I just want to say that Myth Visions has some of the best moderators for their chat. Really impressed with that.
Really?
Oh yeah, they've got some really great ones over there.
What do? They keep it sane? Or?
They block Otangelo every time he shows up.
Awesome. Well, that's a good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
As we should.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, ready to play this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay, I believe this is his conversion story. If I got my
Well, yeah, it was between, ID and theistic evolution.
Yeah.
There's a bigger spectrum than that, but some people take, a scientist like yourself and say, surely he's got to fit there. I mean, everybody who's a real scientist is going to be an
No, but
evolutionist.
you mentioned old Earth, young Earth. That's the other thing.
Yeah, and
people
old
don't
Earth.
know about.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, old Earth, young Earth. I have no idea how old the Earth is. I have no idea.
Okay, that's not the club.
And you say, well, I can't.
Yeah.
bet
He is a closet
because I'm not
young Earth
Yeah,
creationist,
he is.
right?
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Oh, let's see. Dennis
Yep.
also old conversion story. Oh, I didn't. God damn it. I didn't write a timestamp for his conversion story. Hang on a second here. Social facts, Jewish background. How can I be a sinner? Oh, maybe this is it.
Remember, I said to him, I never robbed a bank. I never killed anybody. How could I be a sinner? Then he turned to Matthew 5:28 and says,
Okay,
for I say to you here, he who looks at a woman, modern secular Judaism, it's not little things that make you a sinner. It's certainly in Orthodox Judaism is different. I mean, they realize what sin is in modern secular Judaism. And I remember I said to him, I never robbed a bank. I never killed anybody. How could I be a sinner? Then he turned to Matthew 5:28 and says, for I say to you here, he who looks at a woman with lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And that really shook me because I was addicted to pornography from the age of 14. I'd been working in a gas station just outside New York City, and I got all these magazines. And
How many 14-year-olds are not addicted to pornography? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, is pornography addiction even a real thing? I've heard not. I don't know what other people think. But.
A lot of you.
No, I can quit anytime I want to.
Right. A lot of you out there don't remember before the internet, but those magazines in gas stations were highly prized items for a lot of teenagers.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. So anyway,
I by 18, I was addicted. And so I was immediately convicted. But what's amazing, Corey, is why should I have been convicted? Why should I even care what some guy said 2,000 years ago, who in my mind is Jesus a Christian? And I didn't know that he's Jewish. Who knew? And why should I even care? But that his.
Okay, so he was raised in a kind of philosophy where basically it's the things you do with your hands or your works that you are judged on. And if you're a sinner, you have to do it with your hands, right? Doing it in your mind, in the Jewish tradition he was raised in, does not make you a sinner. I don't know. Are you familiar with that, Scott or James or Dave?
I'm not sure. I can't speak for the the entirety of Judaism, but generally I would think that they don't think that.
Yeah. Anyway, so this guy comes along to him and suggests that you're a sinner if you're in your heart if you lust after women. But now prior to that, okay, between the ages of 14 and 18, obviously James had acquired some really bad guilt about his own activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's already like in a really weird place where he's doing this sex thing, but he feels guilty about it. I don't know why that would happen, but I think,
I don't know what the Jewish teachings on masturbation are.
Yeah, I don't know.
But,
sure. Anyway, maybe somebody in the chat can help us out with that. But anyway, okay.
Words just shook me because I didn't know how to look at a woman any other way. You take a young man addicted to pornography, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And I knew adultery was wrong, and it says, and he's committed adultery in his heart. How can I commit adultery in my heart? For secular Judaism, it's what I do with my hands. It's it's not what I do in my heart. But God gets right at my heart. And so he immediately had my attention. I remember saying to him that if that's the definition of sin, then I'm a sinner. And so he had my attention, and he went through the bridge illustration, but then that was in August. November of my freshman year, I'm all alone in my room. And I had met some people that said they were born-again Christians. I had never met born-again Christians before. They were all nice people. Every one of them was nice. And I've met some since that aren't nice, but back then, they were all nice.
Was it Bill Maher who said, "Oh Lord, save me from your followers"?
I don't know. Bill Maher's a comedian.
Yeah, and one of the neo-8.
Okay, did you hear what he just said? Oh, Bill Maher's a comedian. It's almost like he doesn't get comedians or something.
I'm sure that he doesn't. Yeah, I bet he doesn't.
Yeah. Anyway,
atheist, but he does not like Jesus followers. But he's starting to find some attraction to Jesus.
But he calls a spade. He calls it like he sees it. And I was all alone.
James didn't get the memo on that particular expression, did he?
Alone in my room, and I got on my knees, and I said, Lord, forgive me because I am a sinner. And all of a sudden, I felt this burden of sin start to lift from me. This sin burden that I had been carrying, and this forgiveness being poured out. And then, boom, off to my right, somebody was standing. The door was shut. I couldn't see clearly with my eyes of any figure. But the presence of God was so strong. Jesus was there, entered my room.
Okay. That's the moment.
And how he, it's
okay. But did you hear what he said now? He couldn't see a figure. In fact, he's let me play that again.
And I fell on my face. God was boom, off to my right, somebody was standing. The door
was standing there.
Shut. I couldn't see clearly with my eyes of any figure.
He couldn't see any figure clearly.
But the presence of God was so strong.
But the presence was so strong. So in other words, he didn't really hallucinate or see anything. He had this feeling that there was something there in the room with him, right? And he had this feeling. He had this feeling at a time in his life when he was obviously in crisis over this severe guilt. And all of a sudden this Jesus figure popped in. And I've told about this experience when I went on this forum and I pretended I was a Christian for 3 months. And I talked like Christians and I, immersed myself in it. And I was falling asleep. They call it a brain crash when you're falling asleep and all of a sudden you feel like you're falling or whatever, but you wake up with a start, as you're falling into deep sleep. And I woke up with a start, this feeling of this presence that was above my bed. It was like something above my bed, but I of course there was nothing there for me to see, but I had this feeling that there was a presence. And I thought, holy fuck. And I went out and I logged onto that forum and I deleted my account because I realized that I was like brainwashing myself. Because it's like, wow, it was like Jesus was above my bed. Now, if any Christians hear this, they're going to swear to Christ that Christ actually visited Speed of Sound. But anyway, I had this like weird feeling, right? It's like, oh my God. So, and then later on, what I did is as I retold this story, I actually started to manufacture a picture of Jesus above my bed that looked just like the big, huge portrait that stood behind my Presbyterian minister when I was 6 years old. White Jesus, the white Jesus, handsome guy with a beard, that dude. And like I had, altered that memory. So that's what happens to these people. They have like a brain crash and you get this like overwhelming feeling because you have this intense emotional turmoil. You heard what happened to the raging atheist recently, right? He had a bit of a nervous breakdown. And when he had a nervous breakdown, he had some sort of a conversion. And that happens all the time. I mean, it's a normal human. We have to tell everybody that this is something that happens to all humans. It has nothing to do with religion or ideology. It's a psychological phenomena that happens to all humans when they get to a real low point in their life. Every single alcoholic who has hit his bottom and sobered up, or drug addict, knows what I am talking about. They've had that you could call it a come to Jesus moment. Except Jesus doesn't have a fucking thing to do with it. It's a normal psychological breakdown that you have. Anyway, this is what happened to the tour. And it left an indelible impression and changed his entire life. And that's what happens with people that become believers as a result of a religious experience.
Jesus was there, entered my room. And I fell on my face. I had been on my knees. I fell on my face, just weeping. And the kindness and the love of God. There was no fear. There was no. It was just kindness. You know, you read about how there were these appearances in the Old Testament of angels and things, and people were just shaken. I wasn't shaken at all. Jesus is so kind and so gracious, and and I don't know how long I was there, just weeping, kindness being poured out. The next thing I recall, I was just standing up, wiping my eyes. And I was different from that day. And I didn't tell anybody. What's this Jewish kid from New York City?
Yeah, it's a conversion experience.
Yeah, these stories about Jesus. In nowhere have I heard him say, "Jesus, can I see some ID?"
Yeah.
Nor anywhere in this did I see Jesus identify himself to James Stewart.
He tells you the rest of the story. For 2 weeks, he spent at some hotel, and he was with this Christian guy who was basically mentoring him into Christianity for like 2 weeks prior to that. He talks about him a little bit here later. Let's listen to that part.
And I was walking on the floor a couple weeks later, and the guy who had shared with me in the laundry room, he lived on that floor. He says, "Jim, have you received Jesus in your heart?" I said, I think I have. Why do you ask? He said, "You haven't stopped smiling for weeks. Something's different about you."
Yeah. So something transformative happened to him, and it was a positive transformation. I have no doubt of that. But the thing is that he was immersed in a Christian indoctrination campaign at the time, and that's what happened. So I had the same thing happen to me when I was 15 years old, except that I was reading about Buddhism and Ellen Watts and secular Buddhism. And I was an atheist before, during, and after that conversion experience, but it changed my entire life. So, I mean, fuck, and the thing, like one of the criticisms I have of Matt Dillahunty is every time a Christian comes on and starts talking about that personal connection to God, he doesn't start asking them about this. What does it feel like? What does this absolute conviction that Jesus is in the room with you feel like? What is happening to you psychologically? And Matt Dillahunty just makes fun of him or hangs up on him or cuts him off. And he goes to this, we're going to reason with you and stuff. And that's one of the only criticisms that I will offer to the atheist community. Stop fucking doing that. Listen to these people. They have real powerful experiences behind them, real feelings that are involved, and it's affecting the way they reason. But you got to get to the experience first and accept that something profound happens to people when they have a conversion experience. And what I mean by conversion experience is that you were an asshole. You were doing things that was just destroying your life. You reached a bottom. You had a nervous breakdown. And basically you stepped out of yourself and started looking at your own behavior to the point where you ended up with a paradigm shift in your life that was so significant that it changed your entire life. Alcoholics have quit drinking and never picked up a bottle again for 50, 60, even 60 years after some of these experiences. And this is a powerful thing that it's available to anybody and has nothing to do with religion or ideology.
Now, what do you think about, no, I don't disagree with any of that, but the thing of it is not everybody has that, right? I mean,
no, a lot of people,
percentage of them do. Certainly a lot of them do. Probably, I don't know what the percentage is, but, it's higher than 50% have that, right? Obviously, and then there's a certain percentage that don't have that.
You're real staticky right now, Dave, for some reason. I think you got a bad connection.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're probably sitting in a bad spot. But yeah, there are a lot of people that, that get into Christianity, like, the boiling a frog thing, where you put the frog in boiling water, it jumps out. You put them in well, actually they don't. They would fry instantly. You put them in hot water, he'll jump out. But if you put him in cold water and heat it up slowly. So there are a lot of people that have that. There was no conversion to Christianity. They were just immersed in it from, day one.
Right.
But there were a lot of people that are converts that have had these powerful bottom of the life experiences, usually as a result of extreme stress. I mean, it really, I can relate to that. I think it's happened to me about 5 times in my life, particularly after periods of just extended drug use and alcohol use, where I would just completely melt down and hit the bottom, and I would let go. It's like, okay, fucking come shovel me up, haul me off to the treatment center or the psych ward. I'm done. I'm done thinking, done talking, done making decisions. And then as a result of that, within, the weeks later, I started to put my life together in a very new way that allowed me to be sober for, years and years, this time 16 years, as a result of one of those meltdowns. So we need to name that something other than spiritual or religious experience. We call it like a transformative experience or something. I don't understand why psychologists aren't obsessed with talking about this and thinking about it and analyzing it.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who's going to fund their grants.
Yeah, I mean, if you could put a person in an MRI, given an MRI or a PET scan while they were having one of these experiences, we would learn a tremendous amount about what's going on. There's a complete meltdown in your brain where all of a sudden you're willing. You like, for one thing, you get a shot of endorphins when you give up.
But the problem
you get this.
I have, right?
What's that?
The problem I have with that is that now what you're describing, probably 90%, if not more, of those experiences that you described turn into a religious type of experience.
Yeah.
So that would make it like not so much something that psychologists would want to.
Now, Dave, before we miss too much of what you're saying, Dave, we don't want to miss what you're saying. You're coming back staticky again.
Yeah, and you're basically missing every other word.
No, why?
Yeah, but I think I got the point.
That a lot of times religions come out of it anyway. So.
Yeah, and no, that's not necessary at all, and that's why psychologists should be interested in it, because they don't need to provide an ideology along with that. Well, there's one ideology that you could provide, and that is now you have an opportunity to redesign your life in a way that you want to, willingly, right? What do you want to change about yourself? What are the things that you could change about yourself? Because a person at that time is open to reprogramming. It's almost like you're a duck who just hatched from the egg, and the first thing you see is going to be your mom, and you're going to follow that thing around. And if the first thing you see is some guy holding a Bible, you're fucked. You're going Jesus, right? Because that's the first thing you saw. Whatever it is, it's going to imprint upon you. But a skilled psychologist basically can keep ideology out of it, or keep any kind of idealism out of it, or dogma, right? And just look to change the person's life in a positive way. And at that point, you have an amazing opportunity, because something happens in the brain that allows for significant rewiring at that point. And you can actually change habits of your life that you've, suffered from for years. Anyway, I could preach about that forever. Because, of course, it happened to me. Right? So I don't know. So when it happened to me, I was immersed in Ellen Watts' Understanding Secular Buddhism, right? And what I always tell people, I'm a secular Buddhist, and I'm fucking 72 years old. I was 15 when that happened. So, I mean, how much of what I came to believe back then is true, and how much of it is just, because I was a duckling who just hatched. And Ellen Watts was the first thing I saw. So I'm just as deluded as everybody else, right? Delusional. Something to think about.
Yeah. How's my connection now? A little better? A little better? Still the same?
Yeah, pretty bad. Are you on a phone?
All right. No, I'm on my computer. I just changed internet providers, and they gave me a shitty modem. I got to have them come back and change the modem.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I just changed, so yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Ellen Watts is a smooth speaker, and like I listened to some stuff he said about religion. The thing is, Ellen Watts believed there was some kind of cosmic thing going on about the universe, so he wasn't totally secular, but very much pretty close to it. I mean, he didn't believe in any of the dogma. So, Bigfoot. All hail Bigfoot. Yeah, no Bigfoots there. Yeah, you think you see something. I mean, it's like, I had a lot of experience with severe drug use where I would stay up for 9 days at a time. And when you're sleep deprived, you can see, you can imagine things. You kind of see them, but if you look right at them, they'll disappear. I call them road rabbits, because if you had the misfortune of going for a drive after you've been sleep deprived for 8 days, you keep seeing things running across the road, and you see snakes in the road and all kinds of shit. I mean, your mind can do things like that, but when you look right at it, you realize that you were hallucinating. It goes away. Like the 12-foot troll that was out in my backyard one summer, and I went out there and I said, okay, I know you're not real, but I'm going back in the house anyway. It turned out to be an oak tree. I looked at it the next morning. It was a fucking oak tree. Anyway.
Well, they say if you talk to your plants, they grow better.
Yeah, it died. Yeah, I used to call that Oak One, and I was, I participated in like 50,000 posts I did on forums about consciousness and philosophy, and I always referred to Oak One as this oak tree in my backyard, and it died last year. Oak One died. It hasn't fell down yet, and when it falls down, we're calling the insurance company. It's about a 200-year-old oak tree that died. It passed away. Boy, you guys.
It's very sad.
It is sad. I'm so sad about Oak One. Called it Oak One, and then there was Oak Two, and I talk about the feeling of perceiving Oak One and Oak Two, and I had pictures of raccoons that I would post on the forum and all kinds of stuff. Always raccoons. Yeah. Always raccoons.
Well, if you think about it, a tree died for our sins. They couldn't have crucified Jesus without one.
Right. Oh, no. No,
that's why
that I had never seen before.
Well, that's why they have millions and millions and millions of pieces of the cross of Christ, because people really, really dig the tree that Jesus was crucified on. It's made a lot of money for little churches everywhere.
Sure. Even when they tell you that Jesus died, they always go, "Did you know that Jesus died on a cross
for you?"
They got to emphasize. They put more emphasis on the cross than on Jesus, and I'm like,
it's worse than the electric chair. It's worse than the gas chamber. It's worse than a bullet to the head. It's the cross.
Yep, they're kind of obsessed with that. Your cells mutate or genomes decay despite sustained fitness gains in a long-term experiment with bacteria. Richard Lenski is one of the authors on this. This is what Sal's referring to all the time. I'm going to go ahead and just put the title of that in my description, because Sal forgot to. Anyway, this paper is not about tearing down evolution. It's not what it's about. It's just that genomes tend to get smaller in these bacteria populations due to a heavy mutation rate. and they managed to increase fitness at the same time, which they found surprising for this population of bacteria. But they're not talking about the population of the entire universe of all animals throughout time. Not what they're talking about. Smell, Cordova.
Yeah.
Clueless idiot.
Reading comprehension. Read the room, read the context, learn to read.
He claims he read the whole paper, but I don't understand why he didn't get what they're talking about. Oh my God, where is it now? Okay, let's see. Okay, let me go ahead and post this paper name. Oh, James, what are you up to?
Oh, me?
Yeah, what are you gonna do with yourself?
Oh, I don't know. I'm making a list of sins so that I can commit those, so that Jesus didn't die for nothing.
Right.
And
no. So the tree didn't die for nothing.
So the tree didn't die for anything.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Nitty says he prefers the nickname Slimy Comb Over.
That's weird. There you go. Jesus should have died from natural causes that would have been a better story, right?
Yeah.
Natural causes for our sins. That's what we got here. Logan Fisher, people say Jesus lives, but if he was at the right hand of God before birth and death, how can we say he is more alive today than
0 CE?
Yeah. Yep. He's alive in people's hearts and in James Tour's mind. in James Tour's hotel room, you know.
So was he sleeping and the praying on his knees was in a dream, or was he actually awake when he did that?
He might have been awake when he did it.
I mean, he says he was awake. Was he really? Who knows?
Yeah, because I was thinking in terms of, you know, how you get the sleep paralysis. And a lot of times when people get sleep paralysis, there's a figure there, you know.
And I remember...
I never realized how often Jesus gives people sleep paralysis. That's shitty.
Yeah.
So, but he said a prayer, right? So he said this. What was the prayer?
People were just shaking. I wasn't shaking at all. Jesus is so kind and so gracious.
Okay.
There was no. It was a spade a spade. He's exactly what I'm talking about.
How do you know it was Jesus?
And I knew adultery was wrong, and it says. And so he had my attention, and he went through the bridge illustration, but then that was in August. Now, I had met some people that said that it was nice. I've met some since that aren't nice, but
I can't remember the prayer he said, but basically he asked for forgiveness. He had this like horrible guilt that was following him around and obviously really eating at him, right? For some reason. Whatever kind of home he grew up in, if it was secular Jewish, he shouldn't have had that guilt, but somehow he had this guilt and this dirty feeling, right? I'm a pornography addict. And he said this prayer, this, you know, take this from me, Lord. And when you do that, now any of you, okay, if you get off this stream, like if you've ever been on a stream and you start talking and then after the stream, you sit down in your chair and you think, was I an asshole? What the hell did I say? And you get this like creepy feeling that, you know, you shouldn't have, you kind of want to go back and erase what you said. Is it okay? The three of you, if any of you experience regrets over running your mouth.
I used to before I embraced that I'm an asshole, and now I don't.
Oh, okay.
Ever ask myself.
Oh, okay. So you got on your knees and you said, I embrace my inner asshole. And,
I did.
And you were relieved of that feeling, right? So anyway, if you do that, and I've done that, you do this letting go thing, and it's really good to pray with your hands by moving your hands outward and doing a bodily gesture. And you keep, I let this go. I let this go. And the next day you'll wake up and you'll wonder, when did it disappear? Because I quit thinking about it shortly after I did this ritual, right? So there's another fucking day. Boys and girls, you're a fucking piece of protoplasm. Your brain is made of meat. There are, and not only that, but we have been gifted with this ability to actually manipulate our own fucking brain to do things. Prayer is one of those things that you can do with your own brain to make you feel better about something. So if you take anything at all away from what I'm saying, remember, your brain is made of meat. You know, it's not a fucking computer. It's not a soul. It's not some rational super being. It's a bunch of fucking meat with emotions shot through it. And you have the unique ability to develop skills to manipulate your own fucking brain. And that's what prayer is. And you can use it. And I use it all the time. Like, James, you mentioned me yesterday, I think you said, or who the hell, somebody mentioned me and they said,
James did, yeah.
I was an atheist. Huh? I was an atheist who prays. Who was that?
Oh, I don't know if he said that, but
yes, that was James.
So somebody.
That was James.
Okay.
Pointing the finger at
me?
James.
I said that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and you were saying that you didn't want to misinterpret what I was saying, but basically you mentioned that I was an atheist who prays, and that's why I pray, because it's a ritualistic way of manipulating your own mind to basically break you out of a loop that you're in, right? So you can break out of a depression loop or a guilt loop or a feeling embarrassed loop, which I have all the time. And so I use that method. Yeah, and the thing is that it's a skill that you can practice, that you can get better at, you know, so it works. So I mean, when these Christians pray, they do get results. They get internal psychological results. And so, you know, steal it from them. Fuck, you don't got to believe in this bullshit in order to get those results. The power of suggestion. Yeah,
suggestion.
Yeah, it is the power of suggestion.
How's my audio okay? I gotta
a little better.
Okay, I changed headsets, but I gotta run. So thanks for having me.
We'll see you, Dave.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
See you,
okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Thanks for being here.
Yep. Yeah, I think we all got to run.
Yeah, it's about time for me to go too. I need to
run away.
Do things.
Got to run away. Oh, I have a beautiful song. Run away, run away. I think I posted in one of my previous videos. I forget what it is. It's on my playlist. Anyway, it's about I think it's called Bad Things or something like that. Is that by the Cult? Bad Things by the Cult?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's a really good song. Run away, run away.
The shooter in the head.
Okay, we'll shoot her in the head. Just one comment is, Jesus like ghosts can go through walls? If so, does gravity affect them? Yeah, he stands on floors. Okay, floors he cannot penetrate, but walls he can. I don't know how the fuck that works. It has something to do with the X and Y coordinates. I'm not sure.
Some sort of Cartesian Christ thing. Cartesian geometry.
Yeah, but relativity kind of shoots holes in that, because you can change that reference frame or your basis for your vectors. Anyway, I digress. We got a shooter in the head.
The shooter in the head. I want to thank everybody for being here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. The few of you that actually watch us, I really appreciate you guys. You keep me doing this anyway. Otherwise, I would have fucking hung it up.
You're a team. You're a club.
Feel you.
Yep, a club. Our fans.
I picture Answers in Atheism as a giant, old-fashioned general store with a big porch, and we're all just gathered around, spitting in the spittoon and just talking shit.
Yeah, none of our fans are community. You're probably here just to laugh at me, but
sure, why not?
Our community, and we love y'all. Okay, guys, we're ending it. Bye bye. Cruel world.